Welcome to the collective energy update for the week of November 7th. So, this week, things are getting real. That's what I keep hearing from my guides. There's a next level shift. We're moving to the next level. And this probably has a lot to do with tomorrow's full moon eclipse. So there's a lot of energy. The last portal of this year, super powerful, heightened energy. We're moving in to the heart space. Very clear. We're moving from the mind into the heart. So the more that you can shift your awareness, focus on your heart, things that feel aligned, things that feel supportive, really working with the energy of your heart to identify and to even make decisions, because this week is going to be a lot about, not even more clearing, but making aligned decisions, and that gets to be from your heart space. So the first message and theme was integrity. Are you acting from your highest self, or is there still a sense of you that is pretending, trying to fit in, trying to belong? How are we harnessing our integrity? How are we showing up daily in that authentic and um, integral space? What's out of character for you? Is there anything that you find yourself doing right now that is out of character, that doesn't feel good, that doesn't feel supportive? If so, how can you evolve deeper into the and move into the more aligned version of yourself where you're holding those boundaries, where you're saying no, where you're not making these decisions anymore based on this older version of yourself that doesn't feel aligned? It's time to really clear anything that doesn't match this vibration. And there's going to be resistance to this from an ego point of view, but we can't see a way forward until it's gone. It's one of those things where I know this relationship isn't serving me, but I don't know who I am without it. I don't know how to move forward from here. I know that this job isn't aligning. I know that it is not an expression of my authentic self. I know I'm not in integrity with what I'm doing, but how am I going to make the money? How can I have resource without this? It's one of those things where our ego, our lived experience as a human will make us feel that we can't separate ourselves from it because our identity is so attached in it. How can you make a leap? How can you make that jump from your heart? How can you pursue what your heart is calling you to pursue, even if it doesn't make sense, even if your mind and your ego is resisting it? Really important that we are stepping into and moving in integrity, because the expanded version of ourselves, the life that we're creating and desiring, especially with this full moon eclipse energy, that is what it's calling us toward. And we can't get to that version without taking that leap. So it's just something to think about, the theme of integrity this week. The second theme and message was around restraint. So there might be some impulsive, rash decisions for the short-term gain that you might find yourself thinking about, wanting to make. And we're really masking pain with indulgence in these rash or impulsive decisions for short-term gain. Be very selective and mindful about your decisions this week, and how, even in the smallest act can have long-term repercussions. So these things can lead to changes in your path, even the smallest thing. So when you're making a decision this week, think about, am I making this in order to sidestep an emotion? Am I making this in order to make myself feel better about something else? And if so, what is the feeling and emotion behind this decision? Are you trying to cover something up rather than feel it or acknowledge it? And if so, how can you be in integrity? How can you be honest with yourself? How can you move and feel these emotions without being rash or impulsive? How can you show some restraint? The last message was conversations. So it's a really important time to voice your opinions. Say things out loud. There is no need to hide or mask your emotions or intentions. It's an important time to speak your truth and to communicate openly. Are there any conversations that you've been delaying or putting off? even with yourself, even if it's not with someone else, is there something that you haven't been honest about? And again, this all goes into the other themes of integrity and restraint. Have you been holding yourself back? Have you been putting things off for a short-term gain? Maybe I'm not going to have this uncomfortable situation or conversation because I don't want to feel this way right now. Like this week feels like ripping the band-aid off. This week is about, all right, I know and I acknowledge that this is no longer serving me. I know that I shouldn't be or I can't show up in this space anymore because my heart isn't aligned. It doesn't feel like it. How am I going to rip the band-aid off? How am I going to have these conversations? How am I going to do these things? And, there's going to be a sigh of relief. There's going to be a feeling of freedom and liberation once these choices and decisions are made. It's just very important that you acknowledge them and you make them. So it's really time to stop putting things off and moving forward. The emotions are going to be really high this week. We've reached an energetic peak and breaking point. Things are wanting to move forward. Progress is wanting to be made. And especially in our mental and emotional uh, selves, we're going to really feel the effects mentally and emotionally from these shifts. So be gentle, move slowly. This energy really is calling for rest and surrender. Do not force, do not push. Just really be in the space of acknowledgement, having those conversations, feeling those feelings, and knowing that whatever you might be experiencing mentally and emotionally is needed because we've been doing a lot behind the scenes. We've been doing a lot spiritually, we've been doing a lot physically of moving and clearing and healing. Now our mental and emotional bodies and ourselves really want to come online, process and release, grieve, be happy, all of the mental and emotional things that come with birth and the death cycle, and really setting ourselves up for some really beautiful energy. But this full moon eclipse is really going to push us through. And again, eclipses kind of are destiny portals. Whatever is meant to happen will happen. So that's why there's this sense of do not force, do not push, because whatever is meant to happen will happen anyway underneath this energy. So really be gentle and compassionate with yourself, but everyone around you too. Year ahead readings have been so beautiful. Thank you so much for everyone who has trusted me with your 2023. So please, if it calls to you, go ahead and schedule your year ahead reading. Also, I am calling in and I'm taking in more one-on-one clients for healing containers, healing spaces, divine feminine awakenings, really this theme of rebirth. I have been so lit up by this community, by all of you and all of the women who have really been feeling the sense of wanting to move through these really heavier things and get on the other side of them. And I've really been enjoying the one-on-one work, the longer term um, connections. So if you feel called to be supported in this way, I'm offering one-on-one healing packages, a 3-month minimum, where we really dive deep and move through everything that you're experiencing, everything that you're feeling to get you on the other side of it. So a really beautiful container and space. I'm calling in women to work with me. If this is you, feel free to reach out. Feel free to schedule a complimentary call with me and take it easy this week. And I will talk to you soon.